What happened at the start of the 2020 Bahrain Grand-Prix will certainly be remembered as one of the most shocking incidents in the entire motorsport history. And to be honest with you, I really didn't expect Romain Grosjean get out of that fireball only with some minor burns on his hands. Of course, I was extremely happy to see that Romain was okay after that horrific crash, but also my heart was immediately filled with admiration for the immense safety advancements Formula 1 has realized. It is unbelievable to think how safe these cars have become, especially when looking at the situation in the 60s and the 70s, when it was widely accepted that racing came with a real risk of severe injury or even death. Hi guys, here is F1 to you, and in this episode I'm going to present you my top 5 safety advancements Formula 1 has realized in order to make these truly amazing safety systems we have today capable to protect a driver's life in almost any situation. Number 5. 1952, helmets become mandatory. Nowadays, it has become unimaginable to see a Formula 1 driver take the start of a race without wearing a helmet. However, back at the beginning of the 50s, the only pieces of equipment drivers were wearing during a race were a cloth cap and a pair of goggles to protect them from insects and dust. In 1952, hardshell helmets became mandatory, but still, the protection they were offering was very limited, as the driver's face wasn't covered at all. However, in 1963, the fire retardant overalls became mandatory, but it wasn't until 1968 when the full-face helmet was introduced. Today, the equipment Formula 1 drivers wear can withstand being heated to 800 degrees for more than 11 seconds, and the carbon fiber helmets, firstly introduced in 2001, have literally become bulletproof. Number 4. 1972, use of seatbelts made mandatory. Just think about the fact that before 1972, more than half of the drivers on the grid weren't wearing seatbelts at all, as they would have rather risked being thrown out or having the ability to quickly jump out than to be trapped in a car that was catching fire. Between 1950 and 1980, 40 drivers have lost their lives during a Formula 1 Grand Prix, and many others have been badly injured, so there is no doubt this was just pure madness, and an F1 car from that time was practically a bomb on wheels. However, since 1981, the survival cell or the monocoque started to be treated as an entity, and has evolved over time to absorb huge amounts of energy during a crash and to withstand even the most dramatic of collisions. Number 3. 1994, redesign of barriers and runoff areas. The beloved and charismatic Ayrton Senna, viewed by many as the greatest racing driver of all time, was fatally injured at the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix at Imola after losing the control of his Williams in the Tamburello corner. The day before, Roland Ratzenberger had become the only driver to die on a Grand Prix weekend in almost 12 years. It is incredible how people's view over the safety of this sport completely changed after these tragic incidents, and how suddenly, dying in an F1 car became just unacceptable. A huge credit for the changes made has to be given to Professor Sid Watkins, who after that terrible weekend at Imola helped at neutralizing some of the most dangerous corners on the existing racing tracks, as well as at building new tracks with larger runoff areas and much safer and sophisticated barriers. Number 2. 2003, head and neck support, Hans device. Since a Formula 1 car can't integrate an airbag as it would make the emergency evacuation of the car much slower, something had to be done in order to protect the driver's head and neck in case of a frontal crash. That's how the Hans device was created. To be more precise, the Hans device is actually part of a system that works with the Hans posts in the back of the helmet. It is also vitally important to be used with the big harnesses in an F1 car in order to be fixed properly. This way, it keeps the driver's head, neck and thorax moving constantly together and massively reduces the chances of severe injury. In fact, it is thought to reduce neck tension in accident by 72%, and it represents the best way known to prevent the risk of basal skull fractures, a leading cause of death in motor racing. Number 1. 2018, the Halo. The Halo is the newest and arguably one of the most disputed safety innovations brought to Formula 1. After Jules Bianchi's unfortunate fatal accident at Suzuka in 2014, F1 started to search for some additional ways to protect the cockpit, and this one proved to be the most efficient. When it was introduced in 2018, there were lots of people, including some drivers, that were against it, saying that it destroys the DNA of racing and that it can cause visibility issues. However, the halo has succeeded to prove them wrong and establish itself as a vital part of a racing car. Although it weighs only 6 kilos, the halo can withstand the weight of a double-decker bus. What it was able to do during Grosjean's accident could only be described as a technological miracle, and I'm sure it will continue to save many more lives in the future, as there is no doubt that safety has become paramount in Formula 1, and the racing cars we're seeing are safer than ever before. So guys, these have been the top 5 safety advancements that I think have completely changed Formula 1. But I would also be very happy to see your opinion on this. Please tell me in the comments which other innovations do you think have been vital for F1 safety, and also don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed this video. Here was F1 to you, and I'll see you in the next episode.